Welcome to Zooming with the Alderman, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Chicago. My name is Judy Schindler. Founded 101 years ago, right here in Chicago, the League is a nonpartisan political organization which encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The Chicago League is one of hundreds of local leagues across the country. These interviews with the alderman are part of our effort to educate people about those who represent us in setting the policies and ordinances that govern us here in Chicago. Today, our guest is Alderman Derrick Curtis of the 18th Ward. Welcome, Alderman Curtis. We appreciate your taking the time to be with us. Please note that the Zoom session is being recorded and will be available for viewing after today on the League's website. We'll be sending Alderman Curtis and everyone who registered for this program who is not a member a link to the video when it becomes available. Also, everyone should know that we have provided the alderman a copy of the questions I'll be asking ahead of time. Before we start asking those questions, though, let's take a look at the map of all 50 wards in Chicago. And with the cursor, could you show us the 18th ward? So it's all the way there on the far edge of the city. Now, can you show, and there's the 18th ward itself. Unlike some of the wards, this one looks like it's got a regular shape, which is great.
Perfect square.
All right. So let's get started. Alderman Curtis, would you please describe your ward? Where is it? And what are the main boundaries? What neighborhoods does it include? And what's the makeup of the ward?
Well, our ward sits on the southwest side of Chicago. We are a great, super great mixing pot of all nationalities. We have white, Black, Hispanic. We have a Korean. We also have a neighborhood of Arab descendants. We're just a great neighborhood. We are bordered by 5 municipalities. That's Evergreen Park, Hometown, Burbank, Oakland, and Bedford Park. Like you said, we are a perfect square box. We go basically from 71st to the north, 87th to the south, Damon to the east, and Cicero to the west.
Would you say it's primarily residential, commercial, industrial?
It's basically all single family homes. We have a few 2 flats, not very many in the ward. We do have industrial and I would say single family homes. We have 6 different communities. We have Auburn Gresham, North Beverly, Wrightwood, Ashburn, and Scottsdale. So, and each one of those communities, you know, some of them have different needs. Like, and I'll give you an example. Some of the communities have more trees than others. Others have, it's an older area. I have an older area also maybe in that Scottsdale area where, you know, a portion of Scottsdale, which is basically from Pulaski to Cicero, 71st to 87th, used to actually be, back in the years, well, not an airport, but well, they did fly airports right into there. We had barracks over there. Uh, Actually, Ford City Mall used to be where they built the B-52 bombers in World
Ah,
War II.
interesting.
So we have a great aviation background in the entire community. Yes.
Interesting. So you have a mix of different kinds of communities, as you've said. And what other key issues do you think that are facing the people of your ward? I'm sure it's varied.
Well, it is very. We are fortunate to be probably uh, probably the most predominant Black, even though we're probably only about 52% now, maybe African American, but we probably have one of the lowest violence wards, I would say, in the city of Chicago. Um, and I'm proud to say that we have a very active community. Uh, our CAS program, people come out to things like that. The city clerk's office once told me that I actually have more activities going on throughout the year than any ward in the city of Chicago. So I come from a background before me being alderman, and I know we'll talk about that later.
Right.
I was the ward superintendent, where I serviced the community for 12 years in a streets and sanitation service capacity. So I know the ward better than anyone, and I engage them uh, all the time because I think that's very, very important. If you look at some articles, I guess, where I had other interviews, a lot of people, and I know some of my staff get upset because people still call me Derrick, and I'm okay with that. Even though I have an automatic status, I'm okay with Derrick because I built the relationships, and people. I want people to feel comfortable when they talk to me, so I'm gonna remain Derrick to them. Even though, like I said, some of my staff they said they'll come in and say, "Hey, is Derrick around?" And they, "Do you mean the alderman?" And, but yes, the alderman. But and I try to make my office understand that there's nothing more important in life than building relationships. When you build a relationship with people, there's nothing that you cannot accomplish, and you'll probably always be successful at it. So, and so to your number two question, um, like I say, we have low violence. So the biggest issues that we probably faced in the last year or so has been not even has been maybe mail delivery. It's been slow or delayed, and I know a lot of wards been having problems out of that. But I've done so many town hall meetings about that. We also have two railroad intermodals in the ward, so we have railroad tracks all over the place, and it's difficult with us having intermodals. The trains are constantly building, so they will block a intersection in a second, and you know, it's kind of inconvenient, but
I consider.
we try to work with the railroads to take care of that issue. That's really the only issue I see. We was great in the census this year. We came in number one in doing the census this year. Like I said, I get a lot of cooperation. So we were number one in the census for about 10 or 11 months. And then all of a sudden, one of my colleague to the south, he jumped right in front of me, and he was number one for maybe a month. But I think that's because he have more res. I'm sorry, that's my phone there. I'm coming right back. That he has more residents than I have.
I see.
Mhm.
You alluded to being the ward superintendent. When did you first join city council and why did you decide to run?
I joined city council in 2015. I've always been super active in the community. Um, I just feel that even though the past alderman, we all had a great relationship, and I actually did not run against her. Because we were in the same organization, and we were really good friends, but people started saying that, anybody but her. And I did not want to see someone that didn't do any groundwork in the community jump in a position, uh, and actually win a position, uh, and they didn't deserve being there, and they really don't have the heart of the people, I would say.
And what year was that? I'm sorry, the
That
year.
was in 2015. I was also elected Democratic committeeman in 2011. So I was already serving as a elected body prior to 2015.
What city council committees do you serve on?
I'm the vice chair of aviation, which I am so proud of because I was able to take that and bring aviation in my ward. I'm right here on the southwest side with Midway Airport right down the street. So I put a program together for our kids where I can start with them in maybe a junior in high school, uh, with a dual enrollment into I'm sorry, a dual enrollment into Daly College, straight into aviation career.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so that's aviation that I'm proud of. I'm the vice chair of that. I sit on budget, finance, economic development, rules, public safety, transportation, and ethics.
That's quite a load.
It is. It's it's a load, and I try my best to be at all of the meetings, even though sometimes they stagger them, and there's sometimes they're one on the top of the other. One will start while we're in the middle of one, but I jump in and out of the meeting, so I handle it pretty well, I would say.
And you said you're vice chair of aviation, or do you hold a chair of any of the others?
No.
Okay. Here's the next question. What, if any, changes would you like to see made in the operations of the council?
Well, I my first 4 years in the city council is kind of like a learning experience, and it was great being there. I've done a lot of listening and less talking because that's how you learn. Uh, I was very disappointed in the next 4 years, which after 2019, I would say, uh, we need to learn more to work together as a city council and put our personal feelings to the side and treat each other as adults, which I see that basically I haven't been doing that. We also need to be compassionate about other needs in other wards, because again, just like I have six different communities, and all those communities have different needs, even though we're one community, I would say, the city is the same thing. Some portions doesn't need as much as another, or or vice versa. So we need to be respectful of someone else's needs in their wards, I would say.
Interesting. Here's the next question. Would you be willing to allow applicable departments to make decisions on some of the items that now require ordinances, as long as your office or any alderman's office was located within the district had a say or was consulted? For example, parking prohibition designations, loading zones, residential permit parking, traffic warnings. Would you like to see that handled by departments, or do you like the way it's done right now?
I like the way that is done right now, I would say. And I'll tell you why. I think that no one knows their wards better than the alderman. Uh, and some like me that's been around here for a long time, I if you just give me an address, I'll tell you what's there, because I've been doing it for a long time prior to even being an alderman. Um, I would say I have never yet ran into an issue, even though they put out this automatic prerogative. I've never had an issue with getting the things done that I needed, as long as that department, like worded it in your statement, in your questions, as long as I'm a part of it and I actually have a say so in it, and I can get and I'm actually going through it right now with Department of Transportation, wanting to change a one-way street when I know it's not best for the entire ward. So it's going in my favor. And again, I think when I get people to come out and like I asked the department, come out, join me in the ward instead of look out at a map, and I'll show you why my opinion is a lot different from your opinion. And they did that. So I really don't have an issue as long as I'm involved. If I'm not involved, I have an issue.
That makes sense. The league has long supported having an independent commission draw ward boundaries rather than the alderman determining them. Would you support the concept of an independent commission to draw the next set of ward boundaries?
Well, I do support the concept. And like I said, no one knows the ward better than an alderman. The one big issue is in drawing these maps, sometimes what I don't want to see is okay, so before you draw a ward map, they have to draw the state and congressional first. And it's harder to deal with 4 state representatives, 2 senators, 4 Cook County commissioners, and that's how I am now with my 6 communities. Again, I had no issues really, but it's a lot easier working. It's a lot easier working with 1 or 2 people than to work with 4 different state reps. So if we can draw these maps where and we can get the people that actually draw the maps to understand certain areas if we can have maybe even 2 state representatives in the entire ward instead of 4, or 2 commissioners instead of 4, I think we can get more done.
So you'd like to see some sort of coordination with the other governing districts?
It has to be. I think it has to be. Yes, it has to be. So and what I would really like to see, if I think a hybrid model is better. So I would love for an independent company to come in. But if that independent company come in, so it's we redraw the map every 10 years. What I would like to see them come somewhere within that 10 years and get to know those communities. Because if you don't know the area and you just try to start drawing the map by the census or the people, you're gonna lose and miss out on a lot. So again, that's where I'm saying that an alderman really should be involved with the drawing of the remaps. And I'll say this: if an independent group came in, I would really want that independent group to be outside Chicago.
That makes sense.
Yes, I would definitely want that because I don't want it tainted.
Okay, here's another issue. Currently, when one candidate for mayor or alderman does not receive at least 50% plus 1 vote in February election, the top 2 vote getters are on the ballot in a rerun in April. Would you instead be supportive of using ranked choice voting in February to determine the winner of the runoff? If you know what I mean by ranked choice?
Yeah, yes, I do. The next person that come in line gets it.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's funny. When I talk to people, I always have a story. That's why I'm glad that I always have a story. So, I am a proud winner of a runoff election.
Ah.
But now I got to tell my story though. So, so in my runoff, I kind of like it the way it is. I am the only alderman in the city of Chicago that during the runoff, normally an incumbent have an upper hand. And they normally get more votes, even though they don't reach that 50 plus 1%.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only alderman in the city of Chicago that got more votes than the current alderman, sitting alderman in the city. Again, that comes from me building relationships. So I think that we're in a kind of fair process. We go ahead and run that runoff election, because sometimes we might pick up that wrong person that really don't deserve to be there. And I believe fate plays a great part. If it's your time, it's your time. If it's not, it's not. But I am a winner of an election, and again, I of a runoff. I would say I'm the proud winner of a runoff. And if we did it that way, I would have beat the current alderman in the first go round.
Right.
Because I actually had more votes than she actually had. So, right now, I guess the runoff is working okay for me.
But if you had your choice between one or the other, would you pick one or the other?
I would say I'm okay with a runoff.
Okay. And here's how, maybe you can come up with some ways we can help you. If the league wanted to support one of your initiatives, what steps would you recommend that we take? And what initiative would you want us to get behind?
Well, when it comes to, and it's just not, and you're speaking of any initiative, not just has to do with women, but I have a lot of groups that I work with right here in my ward. We have um a women's veterans association that I support dearly. I also uh, organize and create activities for breast cancer and things like that. Actually, my mom passed away when I was uh, 11 years old with breast cancer. So I'm always standing behind uh, the women in my community that organize that. Um, any initiatives? I mean, if I would love to have the women's league to support all of my initiatives, but
Well,
I'm trying to I'm trying to think of
how would we
something
go about doing that?
specifically.
How could we help you? What would you like to see us do?
Well, I'm not so much on monetary assistance, which is always good, but I would want a women's league to come out and join me. Uh, it's nothing more important than that. I mean, uh, I think that this interview that you're doing, I think whoever thought about it by you guys interviewing all the aldermen way prior before an election, I think that's an awesome idea. And I think that now you should communicate with them out of the 4 years, probably all 50 wards once a year. Because again, I think you'll get a sense of wards and actual individual people that support the needs of the Women League.
Mhm.
So what you're doing now, I think those steps are a lot. Whoever came up with that, again, I think you guys are doing a wonderful thing in talking and interviewing all of us now, so you can say we want to be more involved with what you're doing, and talk about some of the decisions that you might want to make, because sometimes another outlook will be perfect. You may tell me something about what's important to women that will change my entire vote. So, but the only way to do that is to get to know each one of the 50 aldermen, I would say.
That's great.
Do,
Great
do that
answer.
make sense?
It does, I think. Thank you very much. Here's my last question. What are some of the things you'd like to get done or at least started during the remainder of your term, which ends in 2023?
Well, again, I am a ward that always complain, and I love it. I love it because it shows that the person cares about their community. So I am very, very tolerant of my constituents. I love them to death. Um, I am also a place where people will still come in and develop. And they're not developing in a lot of wards in the city. So right now, I just had a piece for 10 years. I haven't had a grocery store. So now I got Peace Fresh Market coming in. They just bought 19 acres. I have car wash that they're building. I have uh, uh, a um, a trucking company that has come in and they're creating tons of jobs. It's the biggest trucking company in the Midwest. Um, I'm getting a lot of things developed. I have Ford City in my ward, which is the last indoor mall in the city of Chicago. I don't want to see that mall fail. So right now I'm working on things to try to bring that mall back to where it should be, because I feel that why should a business go in the suburbs right across the street than come on the city side, which is where I'm bordered, you know? So I would like for that revenue to be coming on the city side. So those are the things that I'm working on, my projects. Again, I want to see my aviation program take off on the at record numbers, because I think that will bring a lot of people and see, this pandemic has really crippled, I would say, not just Chicago, but the nation. I think the president did the right thing with stimulus checks, right? Because he did the right thing with stimulus checks because it kept the economy moving. But now you have a lot of people that don't want to go back to work because they probably getting more money staying at home than going back to work. I don't care where you go to now, you're going to see help wanted signs at everywhere.
Right.
And we have to get people back to work so our economy can just, you know, go back to where it should be. And you know, that's about it. That's what I would like to see. More people come in, bring more businesses, bring more jobs, and I want to see the people back in those jobs working. So
That's great.
that's
Thank
it.
you. Alderman Curtis, thank you so much for being with us today. I think your remarks are very enlightening, and your sense of community just is evident to all of us that you really know your ward.
I'm passionate about it.
And passionate about it, that's for sure. As a reminder to everyone watching, a link to this program will be found on the Chicago League's website, and everyone who registered for today's program and is not a league member will receive an email with the link, along with an invitation to join the league, and as well as to sign up for notices for future programs. Next week, again on Thursday, August 26th at 6 p.m. We hope you'll register and join us for Zooming with the Alderman program featuring Alderman Michael Rodriguez of the 22nd Ward. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.